Chapter 3 of Creative Unity. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Roz Mason. Creative Unity by Rabindranath Tagore. The Religion of the Forest. 1. We stand before this great world. The truth of our life depends upon our attitude of mind towards it, an attitude which is formed by our habit of dealing with it according to the special circumstance of our surroundings and our temperaments. It guides our attempts to establish relations with the universe, either by conquest or by union, either through the cultivation of power or through that of sympathy. And thus, in our realization of the truth of existence, we put our emphasis either upon the principle of dualism or upon the principle of unity. The Indian sages have held in the Upanishads that the emancipation of our soul lies in its realizing the ultimate truth of unity. They said, Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kinch jagatyam jagat yena tyaktena bunjita ma graha kasyasvittanam. Know all that moves in this moving world as enveloped by God, and find enjoyment through renunciation, not through greed of possession. The meaning of this is that when we know the multiplicity of things as the final truth, we try to augment ourselves by the external possession of them. But when we know the infinite soul as the final truth, then, through our union with it, we realize the joy of our soul. Therefore, it has been said of those who have attained their fulfillment, Sarvam eva vishanti, they enter into all things. Their perfect relation with this world is the relation of union. This ideal of perfection preached by the forest dwellers of ancient India runs through the heart of our classical literature and still dominates our mind. The legends related in our epics cluster under the forest shade, bearing all through their narrative the message of the forest dwellers. Our two greatest classical dramas find their background in scenes of the forest hermitage, which are permeated by the association of these sages. The history of the Northmen of Europe is resonant with the music of the sea. That sea is not merely topographical in its significance, but represents certain ideals of life which still guide the history and inspire the creations of that race. In the sea, nature presented herself to those men in her aspect of a danger, a barrier which seemed to be at constant war with the land and its children. The sea was the challenge of untamed nature to the indomitable human soul. And man did not flinch. He fought and won, and the spirit of fight continued in him. This fight he still maintains. It is the fight against disease and poverty, tyranny of matter and of man. This refers to a people who live by the sea, and ride on it as on a wild, champing horse, catching it by its mane and making it render service from shore to shore. They find delight in turning by force the antagonism of circumstances into obedience. Truth appears to them in her aspect of dualism, the perpetual conflict of good and evil, which has no reconciliation, which can only end in victory or defeat. But in the level tracts of northern India, men found no barrier between their lives and the grand life that permeates the universe. The forest entered into a close living relationship with their work and leisure, with their daily necessities and contemplations. They could not think of other surroundings as